Chapter 1. Divine Realm Commission. The clouds are changeable and fickle, sometimes like rolling waves, and sometimes like quiet beauties. Every change is unpredictable, but it brings more beauty and shock to people. The dancer of heaven and earth wanders in the clouds. If a normal human could come here, even just taking a breath, they could extend their life by 10 years. Of course, with the physique of a normal human, if they absorb too much of this aura, it would not be a good thing, because this is divine power. Can a normal human come here? The answer is, of course, negative, because this is the divine realm. The towering palace shines with a faint golden light under the aura of the divine realm, and it is the highest point in the entire divine realm and the place that controls everything. The divine realm commission is responsible for judging all gods, as well as managing the divine realm and maintaining the rules. The palace main hall is presented in an octagonal shape, and each of the surrounding walls has no decoration, but there are countless scenes flashing. Each light screen represents a world, and a scene on different planets in the human world. This is also where the divine council monitors the various planets in this starfield. In the center of the main hall is a round table. The material used to make the surface of the round table is unknown, but when looking closely, you can see clouds and mist floating, and it seems to be bottomless. At this time, 5 people are sitting around the round table. Sitting in the main seat is a man dressed in a blue luxurious robe. His long blue hair scattered behind him. The luxurious blue robe seems to have waves like water, and if you look closely, your eyes will be instantly attracted by the deep blue, and even your entire soul will be drawn into the deep and endless blue, like the sea. 2 people are sitting on his left, one dressed in black and the other in white robes. The young man in the black robe has short black hair and looks very energetic, but his eyes seem to have flames jumping, with a slightly evil smile on the corners of his mouth. The woman dressed in a white robe has long red hair scattered behind her, with a beautiful and gentle face, and an unparalleled pure feeling. Sitting opposite them, to the right of the blue-clothed person, was a man and a woman. The man's appearance could not be seen as he was wearing a purple cloak that covered his head. Only 2 red lights could be seen flickering inside the cloak, but his face could not be clearly seen. There seemed to be an endless, deep, and frightening aura inside the cloak. The woman next to him was the exact opposite, with a water green long skirt full of life, always with a faint smile on her face. Her appearance was not as stunning as the woman opposite her, but she was covered in a light golden color and had a vibrant energy that was truly unforgettable and made people feel close to her. See God, there have been many humans in the lower realms recently who have reached the ultimate level of cultivation, and only by being ordained as a deity can they enter my divine realm. It's time to continue to open up the divine realm. A deep voice came from the purple cloak. The flickering blood-colored light aimed directly at the blue-haired young man in the lead. The blue-haired young man frowned. Destruction God, the rules of the divine realm were established a long time ago. How can they be changed so easily? Moreover, opening up the divine realm might shake the foundation of my divine realm. It's not feasible. Although there are humans who have reached the peak in all realms, there are also some gods in my divine realm who are willing to give up their divine positions to explore more distant galaxies and allow them to be freely replaced. The purple-robed destruction god coldly said, freely replaced. The transfer of divinity is so difficult that some people with the qualifications have fallen because they could not pass on the divinity. If there are more divine positions in the divine realm, promotion would be much easier. What's wrong with opening up the divine realm? With the accumulation of divine power in the divine realm over the years, gradually opening up, naturally following the will of heaven, can lead to greater development in the divine realm. The sea god frowned slightly and said, expanding the divine realm is not a simple matter. It will cause turbulence in the entire divine realm and even affect the changes we monitor in the entire galaxy. The impact on the human world is immeasurable. This cannot be done. I don't need to mention the god of destruction. His tone was firm. As soon as he spoke, the other 4 people's gaze automatically turned to him, with different expressions in their eyes. The god of destruction said coldly, this is not something that you can decide on your own. After the reincarnation of the 2 gods, each of us controls 1 vote. I request a vote. I agree to expand the divine realm. The sea god said in a deep voice, even if we have to vote on this matter, it will be decided by the expanded meeting of the divine realm committee, not just by the 5 of us. Let's talk about it later. He used an unshakable tone to suppress the overbearing of the god of destruction. The purple robe on the god of destruction flooded without wind, and the red light in his eyes shone for a moment, then returned to calm. The green-skirted woman sitting next to the god of destruction said, this matter indeed requires long-term consideration. Destruction, don't be too hasty. As soon as she spoke, the god of destruction's eyes became gentler and the whole person became quiet. The green-skirted woman looked at the sea god and said with a smile, sea god, I feel that you have been very lively recently. Your family must be adding to the household. The sea god was stunned and asked, Life goddess, what do you mean? The life goddess, with a mysterious smile, said, go back and ask the one at your house, and you will naturally know. Chapter 2, the divine realm. The expression of the sea god changed slightly, a flash of excitement that quickly vanished, and he nodded to the goddess of life and said, thank you. The 2 people sitting across from the god of destruction and the goddess of life also nodded to the sea god with a smile and said, congratulations. The sea god smiled and returned a greeting. The voice of the god of destruction was somewhat cold and hard as he said, congratulations. Although there was not much congratulations in his tone, he still spoke it out. The sea god said, in recent years, many outstanding humans have indeed appeared on the continents of the underworld, and I suggest that the god's hunters patrol and supervise more closely. If there are outstanding individuals, they can indeed be introduced to the divine realm. We also need to strengthen our approval of changes to the god. How about it? Listening to him, the eyes of the god of destruction softened, and the other 3 nodded. In the end, the god of destruction also nodded. The god of destruction said, let's end here today. I still have to deal with a few disputes of second-level gods. After that, he stood up, turned around and walked out. The goddess of life looked somewhat apologetically towards the sea god, but stood up and said to the 3 of them, sea god, the god of kindness, the god of evil, I'll leave first. I have to keep an eye on him, so he doesn't get too strict. At this point, the sea god's mind was somewhat distracted, and he stood up, smiling, and said, go ahead. The goddess of life then followed the direction in which the god of destruction had left. The black-clothed evil god stood up, turned his head to look at the sea god, and smiled. It seems that the god of destruction still has deep resentment. However, he is also for the development of the divine realm. The white-clothed kind god stood up and said, he was a bit agitated today. Sea god, don't mind him. The sea god smiled slightly and said, I don't have time to care about him now. I just want to hurry and see my wife. You guys take care of things today. I'm going to take a break. The evil god smirked and said, go ahead. If there's any good news, make sure to tell us quickly. The sea god waved his sleeve and turned into a blue light, floating away. As she watched his back depart, the beautiful and kind goddess came up to the side of the evil goddess and leaned gently on his shoulder, saying, the god of destruction has become more and more excessive lately, and his conflict with the god of the sea has gradually surfaced. How are we supposed to deal with it? The evil goddess sighed lightly. We are no longer the 2 great gods we used to be. Here, we are all junior gods. Let's just observe and see how things unfold. The god of destruction has come to me a few times in private, hoping to persuade me to support him. He is eager for progress in the divine realm, and it's not really his fault. The god of the sea is more reserved, but he's not wrong either. It's not appropriate for us to stand on either side. We can only mediate and hope that they don't really start fighting. The kind goddess said, among the 5 of us in the divine council, the god of destruction and the goddess of life have a long history. The god of the sea came earlier than us, but not by much. We, of course, have even less history. If it weren't for the 2 great gods leaving and allowing us to temporarily take their places as the gods of kindness and evil, we wouldn't even have the qualifications to be here. In terms of strength, among the 5 of us, the god of the sea is the strongest. After all, he also holds the position of the god of violence. Then comes the god of destruction and the goddess of life, and we are the weakest. You're right, mediating is probably the best solution. Even if they really start fighting, the divine realm can't be chaos. We can only choose this moderate strategy. The evil goddess said, there are currently 18 level 1 divine officers, 216 level 2 divine officers, 1,847 level 3 divine officers, and over 10,000 ordinary divine officials and heavenly hunters, just like us, there are probably more who choose to be neutral. After all, everyone is a divine officer of one side, and the god of the sea and the god of destruction only disagree in their ideas. To be honest, I really hope that the two great gods will finish their journey to the underworld soon and hurry back. With them here, there wouldn't be this. The god of kindness said helplessly, those two guys, tangled up for life after life in the underworld, have already gone through countless lives. Every time they reach the peak, whenever we go to find them, they only recover some memories and refuse to come back. It's really frustrating. Suddenly, the god of evil chuckled and said, thinking about these things is useless, my dear. Anyway, being idle is also idle. Why don't we continue to work hard? You see how powerful the sea god is. He already has a daughter, and it seems that this time, the Bluefield has successfully bred a jade. It's really difficult for us to have children, but they already have two. We don't even have a little movement. It's really behind too much. The god of kindness blushed and gave him a white look, saying, who can blame it? It's not your fault. I want a drink. You make a drink for me to drink. Evil god fiercely picked her up and said, okay, I'll make it for you to drink. Flaming red lips. How about it? While speaking, he held the god of kindness and turned to leave, but a black shadow remained in place, monitoring the thousands of visions that control the underworld. Chapter 3, Life and Destruction. The false in the clouds. The mist around the god of destruction naturally turned into a deep purple. If you look closely, you can find that the water molecules around his body will instantly disintegrate into nothingness, and the deep purple glow becomes even deeper. What are you doing today? The soft voice sounded behind him. The goddess of life didn't know when she had come to his back. The god of destruction coldly said, he is self-sealing. How can the god's world develop? In the future, if we want to control more galaxies, the expansion of the god's world is necessary. This is a must-pass path. If he blocks it, he will block the development of the entire god's world. It seems that he has forgotten how many people he brought from the lower worlds to the god's world when he first came to the god's world. Has he ever followed the rules himself? Such a selfish person. I really don't understand why the two god kings entrusted the entire god's world to him in the first place. If it were me, the god's world would not be what it is now. The goddess of life frowned and said, destruction. In fact, the god of the sea did not do anything wrong. Yes, when he entered the god's world, he brought in many people, but we also cannot deny that in the Douluo continent at that time, there were indeed many talented people who relied on their own cultivation achievements and were valued by the gods. And during that time, many gods also hoped to travel and give up their god positions. To put it another way, when the god of the sea first came to the god's world, he inherited the positions of both the god of the sea and the god of the Asura at the same time. The god of the sea is a first level god who is qualified to bring people into the god's world, although there are quantity restrictions, but it is still allowed. And there's no need to mention the Asura god. The Asura god, like us, is one of the oldest existences in the god's world and a member of the god's world committee. The Asura god's inheritance of the god's position is a major event, and bringing some followers into the god's world is also nothing wrong. At that time, it was. I know you're not happy about the two great gods entrusting the god's world to the sea god before their reincarnation, but if I had to choose, I'm afraid I would have done the same. As soon as the goddess of life spoke, the god of destruction suddenly turned around, and under the cloak, a pair of red eyes suddenly became sharp, staring at her. A chill of destruction instantly rushed towards her. Where the intention of destruction passed, the elemental power of heaven and earth also had to be shattered and become part of the destruction. However, when this huge divine power approached the goddess of life, it was reassembled and restored to its original form. Life and death are very strange. The goddess of life sighed and said, your world belongs to destruction. You are right about this. We all believe it. But to rule the god's world with the fanaticism of the intention of destruction is not good for the god's world. This matter, the two great gods had specifically found me before they left, and I agreed before they made a decision. I believe they also talked to you, but you just wouldn't listen. Destruction. Don't do anything foolish. Promise me, okay? The goddess of life disregards the strong intention of destruction and hovers around her body, floating over to the side of the god of destruction, and cuddling up to him. The god of destruction opens his arms and embraces her into his embrace, and the strong red light in the depths of his eyes also becomes soft. He said in his unique deep voice, the future of the gods. I cannot see clearly. But can he see clearly? He always says that there will be a great disaster in the gods, but in my opinion, even if there is a disaster, it is only for him. Otherwise, why are you and I the original existence of the gods? But we are not aware of it. The goddess of life said softly, I believe the sea god will not lie. This kind of thing, it is better to believe it is true than to believe it is false. For us, life is long, the more so. In fact, the more we hope life can continue. The god of destruction said, you said to him earlier, that his side will have new life born again? Yes. His wife has given birth to another child for him. This time, it should be a boy. The goddess of life said with a sigh. The god of destruction hugged her delicate body and said, it's all my fault. My intention of destruction makes us unable to have a child. The goddess of life smiled slightly and said, don't blame yourself. It's not just your problem, right? This is a common problem of ours. I created and you destroyed. Birth and death. Let's always be together. I am already satisfied. So why do we need more? Besides, for us gods, the continuation of bloodline is not important. What's more important is the continuation of our own will. When we meet a child we like in the divine realm someday, we will give our power to him, and he will be our child, won't he? The god of destruction nodded lightly, his eyes flashing with a red light for a moment. He turned his head to look at the divine realm committee not far away, but his eyes suddenly became colder. Chapter 4 Tang San and Xiaowu. 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 A voice called out, accompanied by a burst of light appearing at the top of the god's realm committee. The once calm and majestic blue figure now appeared to be in a hurry, even excited. In a warm bedroom, a girl was brushing her long hair into a scorpion braid, her fair and charming face even more captivating, especially a pair of bright eyes. Compared to the noble elegance of the kind goddess, she was more delicate and moving, and had an indescribable special charisma. The door opened and the blue figure rushed in from outside, just flashing by and coming to her side, grabbing her shoulders and staring at her with burning eyes. Xiao Wu, have you? The blue-clothed sea god, unable to suppress the emotions in his heart, asked with a voice that was trembling with excitement. They have been in the god's realm for many years, but only have one daughter. It is so difficult for the gods to give birth to offspring that it is already considered lucky to have one. So, the sea god always thought that he couldn't have any other offspring, but after hearing the words of the life goddess today, he found out that he had another child. What could make him happier than this? Xiao Wu pouted her lips and said unhappily, all you think about is the child. You don't care about me at all. The sea god quickly let go of her hand and sat down beside her. He placed her gently on his legs, hugged her, and lovingly stroked her long scorpion braid. Whether it's you or the child, they're both my dearest treasures. Without you, how would there be a child? Is there anything that's uncomfortable? The sea god asked softly, his eyes filled with tenderness. Xiao Wu leaned into him, smiling. There's nothing uncomfortable. The life goddess said that our child is already 2 months old and in 7 more months, he will be born safely. Wu Tong is going to have a little brother. What do you think we should name him? The sea god smiled foolishly. Really? Really? We're having another baby? That's amazing. This is really amazing. Xiao Wu, thank you. He hugged her tightly, his eyes filled with joy. Hey, be gentle. Don't touch the baby. Xiao Wu playfully scolded. The sea god was shocked and quickly relaxed his arms. He carefully and gently touched her stomach. Okay, I'll be careful. Xiao Wu smiled and said, from now on, it's chapter 3 of the agreement. Every night, you sleep in the study room, and you're not allowed to sleep with me anymore. Otherwise, your clingy behavior, I can't bear it. The sea god rubbed the sweat that didn't exist on his head, stammered and said, I don't know who's clinging to whom. What did you say? Xiao Wu's eyes were wide open, and her eyebrows were raised, ready to explode. Me, I'm talking about me. The sea god immediately spoke with a righteous tone. How could he offend her at this time? Xiao Wu hummed and said, this is about right. As for the second point, in the future, you will listen to me and do what I tell you to do. If I tell you to go east, you're not allowed to go west. No matter what I say, even if it's wrong, you still have to do it. Looking at her acting tough, the sea god said helplessly, haven't these years been like this? Do we still need to emphasize this? Xiao Wu scratched her head. It seems like it. Then let's change this. Change it too. After we have the second child, you must love me more than you love him. The sea god rubbed his forehead. Where's the mother who competes with her son for love? You. Never mind, whether you agree or not. Xiao Wu persistently said, all right, I agree to all of it. The sea god laughed helplessly. Xiao Wu continued, as for this third one. She tilted her head and thought about it. Originally, all 3 had been planned, but the second one was invalidated, so there was an extra spot. I haven't thought of it yet. When I think of it, I'll tell you. Okay, I agree with you. Let's go now. If you think of anything else, you can add it later, the sea god said with a smile. If the other gods in the divine realm could see him now, who would associate him with the ruler of the entire divine realm? Xiao smiled, hugged his neck with both hands, and said, this is almost done. Think fast. What should we name our baby? The life goddess told me that our second child will be a boy. Chapter 5. Tang Wu Lin. At this moment, the sea god had already made up his mind and said, let's name our baby daughter Tang Wu Tong, taking a character from each of our names, my Tang and your Wu, and adding Tong, which means a phoenix perching on a magnolia tree. As for our baby son, let's name him Tang Wu Lin, like a little unicorn of ours. How about it? Xiao Wu's eyes lit up and she said, Tang and Wu's little unicorn? Great. Great. Let's do it like that. Then she made a sad face and said, but the characters are hard to write. You'll be responsible for teaching him how to read and write. The sea god, Tang San, smiled and said, no problem. I'll take care of it. Satisfied, Xiao Wu hugged him and asked, how was today's meeting? Tang San thought of the destruction god's provocation earlier and shook his head helplessly. The destruction god is still dissatisfied with my control over the world of the gods. This time, he used the opportunity to expand the world of the gods to provoke me. I was able to suppress him. Xiao Wu furrowed her eyebrows and said, but this can't be the solution. After all, the god of destruction is the oldest deity, with many supporters, especially the evil gods, who are his loyal followers. I'm pregnant now and can't help you with my abilities. You're carrying the power of two gods by yourself. It must be a bit of a struggle. What if he's playing something sinister? Brother 3, you're too soft-hearted. It would be better if you had listened to Elder Dai's advice back then and dealt with him earlier. Once a ruler, always a subject. He's always been so insincere to you, and it's not good for the entire divine realm. Tang San replied, the god of destruction is one of the founders of the divine realm, and his wife, the goddess of life, has always been good to us, and controls both life and creation. Whether it's creation or destruction, they are both essential forces in any dimension. If we really deal with them, it will be very detrimental to the galaxy we control. Furthermore, the god of destruction only has a little more power and desire. His nature is not evil. He's also doing it for the good of the divine realm. Just a little too eager. Don't worry, I'll handle this properly. After a while, I'll find him and have a good talk with him. Xiao Wu nodded and said, expanding the divine realm, is it really not possible? Tang San said, originally it was not impossible. Our divine realm is maintained and formed by the spiritual power of the lower realms on various continents. One day in the divine realm is 1 year in the mortal world. Over these many years, the divine realm has accumulated enough vast spiritual power. If it was to open up the divine realm and increase the number of divinities, it is actually possible. If it were a normal situation, I would have agreed. After expanding the divine realm, we would be able to control more planetary orders, which is a good thing. It's just, at this point, he paused, his brows deeply locked. Xiao Wu said, it's still because of that premonition. Tang San nodded. Xiao Wu said, when you had that premonition before, it was when our daughter-in-law had just become a goddess. At that time, you said that within 30 years, the divine realm would probably face a great disaster. But so many years have passed, and there has been no movement at all. Not only are the doubts of the god of destruction towards you becoming more and more severe, but even some of the other first and second level divinities in the divine realm are the same. Third elder, is your perception really not wrong? Tang San took a deep breath and his gaze became deep. He put Xiao Wu on the bed and stood up to go to the window. The room they lived in was the highest point of the divine realm community, and from here they could look out into the distance. With Tang San's spiritual power, he could even see almost the entire divine realm. I have a premonition that the disaster seems to be getting closer and closer to us, and most in a year, it will appear. That's why I can't let the god of destruction open the divine realm at this time. Once the spiritual energy in the divine realm is thinned out, there may be major problems when facing difficulties. Wu also stood up and walked over to him, holding his hand, saying, third brother, I believe in you. However, you should talk to the god of destruction. Don't let the conflict continue to deepen. Otherwise, when the crisis really comes, our divine realm cannot be united. How can we resist? Tang San smiled slightly and hugged her again, saying, relax, I will. Wu, do I really have to sleep in the study tonight? Of course. Then you don't have to touch me tonight. My warm embrace is very comfortable. Never. Chapter 6. Castle of Destruction. In the morning, a gentle halo of light poured into the room from the window, making the room emit a faint glow. There was no sun in the divine realm, but there were day and night, just that the time of day and night changed differently from the human world. Tang San looked somewhat helplessly at his wife nestled in his arms. She was sleeping like a little cat, still a restless one. Her long legs were entwined around his right leg, her hands hugged his waist, and her head was still pressed against his chest. Even saliva had wet his shirt a little. Occasionally, when she moved, her smooth skin rubbed against his body, forcing him to increase his willpower output. This girl, didn't she know that I am nearly immune to her? Wasn't it agreed that she wouldn't come to the study? Who was it that stumbled to the toilet yesterday and then ran over here, straight into my arms, and then just like that? Hey, wake up. He pinched her face. Don't make noise. She slapped his hand away, entwining even tighter. The blue light flickered, and Tang San transformed into a ray of light, finally escaping. A big pillow was stuffed into her embrace. Xiao Wu had a virtue, or at least she thought it was a virtue, and that was being lazy. Ever since she came to the divine realm, this virtue had been activated. The dark castle is covered by dense clouds, and occasionally a purple lightning strikes from the sky, coloring the castle with a deep purple halo. Even any deity would feel a noticeable oppression here. This is the territory of the god of destruction, where many deities have disappeared. The castle of destruction. Even the wife of the god of destruction, the goddess of life, wouldn't easily come here because the vast thoughts of destruction are everywhere, coming from the destruction thoughts of all kinds of creatures in the lower world. Only the god of destruction can absorb and transform them into his own power. So, during his cultivation, the god of destruction will always be here, but he usually lives on the other side of the life lake of the goddess of life. In the dimly lit hall, a red carpet extends from the entrance to the innermost part. A lightning flash from the window briefly brightened the hall. It can be seen that sitting on the main seat inside the hall is none other than the god of destruction. On either side of the lower part, there are 4 chairs, and sitting on top are 8 people of different shapes. No, to be precise, they should be 8 gods. Among these 8 gods, only the first one on the left, a god whose entire body is hidden under heavy armor, has a normal breath. The rest of the 7 people, to a greater or lesser extent, have a suffocating or crazy taste in their breath. Then, let's start preparing. The voice of the god of destruction echoed throughout the hall. As soon as these words were spoken, the bodies of the 8 gods sitting below shook slightly. A slender god with green light in his eyes licked his lips with a long tongue. Master, can we really start now? It seems that the sea god is still. His voice is very strange, and even the gender cannot be heard. I said we can start preparing. Don't you understand? The voice of the god of destruction suddenly became cold, and the whole hall was silent. Yes, master, we'll start preparing now. The thing god said in a hurry. The god of destruction coldly said, the matter of the sea god, I will handle. Once I control the central hub of the divine realm, I will start to act. What you need to do is prepare all the preliminary work. Yes, my lord. 8 gods simultaneously stood up and respectfully saluted the god of destruction. At this moment, a circle of light appeared behind each of them, either dark or bright, but the light was all internal, layer by layer, gradually changing in color. The deeper it was, the lighter the color. 7 ring light wheel, first level gods. The god of destruction stood up, and a circle of light also lit up behind him. Compared to the below first level gods, the light wheel behind him was much larger, with 9 rings internally, and a powerful sense of destruction that was emerging. Dark red eyes cast towards the distance, and the light in his eyes changed. He didn't know what he was thinking. Just then, suddenly, a bright blue light appeared at the top of the hall. When this light appeared, the 8 gods hidden in the darkness of the hall shook slightly, each showing different emotions. The red light in the god of destruction's eyes also solidified. God of destruction. A clear and pleasing voice rang out. The god of destruction coldly said, what does the sea god have to teach? The voice of Tang San echoed from the blue light. After thinking about yesterday's matter again, it's not entirely impossible. My premonition is probably going to happen within a year. If nothing happens within a year, I'll expand the divine realm according to the will of the god of destruction. How about it? Hearing his words, the god of destruction couldn't help but pause, and after a slight silence, he spoke in a deep voice. Okay, that's great. Tang San's gentle voice still echoed in the hall, and in the next moment, the blue light converged and disappeared without a trace. However, the god of destruction unconsciously tightened his fist. This is the power that controls the central hub of the divine realm. No matter what level of divine law, as long as the king of gods wants to communicate with it, he can immediately contact him. Your highness. Since the sea god has said this, why don't we? The first divine law on the left, hidden in heavy armor, spoke in a deep voice. Be quiet. The god of destructions will suddenly become stronger. Is he trying to show off to me, to show that he is the master of the divine realm? Who knows what other ideas he will have in a year? Everything will be done according to the original plan. This opportunity is rare and must not be missed. Opportunity? What is an opportunity? Even the 8 first level divine lords below don't know, but they didn't dare to defy the will of the god of destruction. Chapter 7, the food god and the 9-colored goddess. Half a year later. Tang San sat quietly behind a desk, looking at the account book in his hand. This is a summary of the spiritual force that has come from all over the world in the past month. Some particularly human beings of concern are also included, with detailed records. With a slight frown, Tang San slowly shook his head. Just then, a cold little hand came out from behind and rubbed his wrinkled forehead for him. What's the matter, Sanji? Xia Wu's melodious voice rang out. Tang San allowed her to massage his forehead for himself and showed a gentle smile on his face. Nothing. I just don't know why these days. The number of thoughts from the lower realm has obviously decreased. But the situation on all the continents in the lower realm is normal. I don't know what the problem is. I have sent people to investigate several times, but there have been no results. Xia Wu walked to him and sat down on his legs. After half a year of pregnancy, she is now 8 months pregnant and will give birth to a dragon in a few months. Could it be your premonition, the prelude to being fulfilled? Xia Wu said in a low voice. Tang San's body shook, and he hugged her and said, it's better not to. What I least hope for is to experience a major disaster at this time. Xia Wu's face showed a mild smile. Of course, she knew why Tang San was saying that. She was about to have a baby, and at this time, his heart was most likely to be in turmoil. For half a year, he took care of her impeccably, accompanying her almost all the time except for routine work, which has already satisfied her greatly. It's okay. No matter what we encounter, we will fight together. We will always make it through. Xia Wu comforted him in a soft voice. Tang San smiled and nodded. As long as you are by my side, I am not afraid of anything, no matter what. Xia Wu leaned against him, with a satisfied smile on her face. The valley. The grass is fragrant, and tall ancient trees can be seen everywhere. In the valley, flowers bloom everywhere, like a fairyland on earth. And in this fairyland, a girl is dancing gracefully, her moving dance blending with the flowers, making it hard to distinguish between the beauty of the girl and the flowers. The girl looks to be in her 20s. Her light yellow long skirt perfectly outlines her figure, looking so moving. Stop dancing. I can't help but dance with you if you keep dancing. At this time, a lazy voice sounded. Following the sound, between the flowers and grass, on a lounge chair, a person is lying lazily, looking half asleep and lazy. This person is also in his 20s, but with a big beard on his face, his peach blossom eyes shining, with a somewhat fascinating taste. At this time, he is holding his head with both hands and staring at the dancing girl in yellow skirt in a dazed and intoxicated manner. You're still dancing. I think you're almost a dancing god. The yellow-skirted girl stopped her dance and said disdainfully. The man wasn't annoyed either. He smiled and said, I am a god. Even if I am a dancing god, it can still pass. As he spoke, he stood up and took on a predatory look, pouncing on the yellow-skirted girl. The yellow-skirted girl smiled and turned gracefully to avoid the man. They laughed and played among the flowers, yet not a single flower was broken. Okay, no more playing. Hurry up and cook for me. I'm hungry. The yellow-skirted girl grabbed the man's hand and scolded him. The man smiled and said, what do you want to eat today? Sausage. I have big sausages, small sausages, and mushroom sausages. All here. Ugh. That's gross. Who wants to eat sausage? You're still the food god. But when it comes to cooking, you're not as good as the god of moods. Anyway, I don't care. I want to eat delicious food. You handle it. If you don't satisfy this young lady's stomach, don't even think about going to sleep in the room today. All right, who said my wife is the 9-colored goddess? Wanting to eat good food is easy. Just watch this food god cook for you. As he spoke, he turned into a flash of white light and went to a nearby cottage. There was a clanging sound as soon as he entered the kitchen. Cooking for the food god was as simple as it could be. Any ingredient in his hands could be transformed from decay into magic. The 9-colored goddess also walked to the front of the house and sat at a stone table. Although she had a smile on her face, there was a touch of regret in her eyes. Although these days are good, they are still a bit too boring. No wonder those gods wanted to abandon their divine position to explore the unknown world. Unfortunately, we still don't have such courage. Let's just take it easy and go play with Sango in a few days. Time passed by. The door opened, and the food god came out with a big plate in hand. That was a plate full of fried rice. That's right, it's fried rice. But when the fried rice came out, the strong fragrance of flowers around was completely covered. The strong aroma came to the nose. Every grain of rice seemed to be golden yellow. In addition, there seemed to be countless jade and white jade in the fried rice, embellishing it. Just looking at it would make people drool. Come and try. The pearl jade white jade golden rice made by the food god himself. The 9-colored goddess disdainfully said, what's this pearl jade white jade golden rice? Isn't it just a scrambled egg fried rice with a little green vegetable? Although she said that, her actions were not slow. A 9-color scarf flashed by, rolled up the plate, and sent it to her in front of her. The food god seemed to be used to her criticism and smiled as he watched her put the fried rice on the table, ready to eat. Suddenly, the food god's complexion changed slightly and his gaze was cast in a certain direction. Behind him, overlapping circles of light turned into 5 ring light wheels hovering behind his head. A strong momentum also rose. The 9-colored goddess also felt something was wrong and dropped the scrambled egg fried rice in her hand. She instantly arrived at the food god's side and the 5 ring light wheels also rose. Unlike the white light wheels behind the food god, the light wheels behind her head were 9-colored and very gorgeous. Not only that, her right hand was lifted and a small and delicate treasure tower rose in her palm. The treasure tower has 9 floors and shines with a radiant treasure light. Chapter 8, the gluttonous god. Hey, chattering. A cold, sinister laugh echoed and everything around seems to become dark. The sky above the valley, which was originally clear, suddenly becomes completely overcast. Layers of dark yellow hues descend from the sky, like a huge light cover, shrouding the entire valley. Who is it? The food god asked coldly. How? You know who I am. Are you going to resist? Do you have the ability? The cold voice was filled with a hint of complacency, but more so, there was a kind of oppression that was hard to describe. Just 2 second-level gods, and they're both second-level gods who aren't good at fighting. The gods in the divine realm are really wasting divine power with gods like you. A dark yellow figure slowly walked out from the distance. He seemed to be walking slowly, but his figure quickly enlarged in front of the food god and the 9-colored goddess. It was a grotesque, pot-bellied monster. Its strong body was 3 meters high, emitting strong dark yellow light, and its back of the head was also dark yellow, with as many as 7 circles of aura. He had a pair of small eyes, but at this moment, he wasn't looking at the food god and the 9-colored goddess, but at the stir-fried rice on the table. His eyes were filled with greed. Fragrant. This food god still has some functions, doesn't he? From now on, you will be my personal chef. Ha ha ha. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. The food god snorted disdainfully. Why do the villains always have such a loud appearance? The 9-colored goddess nodded and said, and they look so ugly too. The dark yellow monster stiffened and roared. How dare you say I'm ugly? The food god proudly said, judging by your morality, aren't you ugly? Do you know who we are? The dark yellow monster smiled and said, I know. Of course I know. Aren't you and the sea god from the same continent and once partners? Don't you want to tell me this? The food god was a little strange and said, are you not afraid? The dark yellow monster chuckled and said, I am the god of gluttony. I am afraid. Of course I am afraid. I am really afraid to death. Ha ha ha. Listening to his crazy laughter, where is there a hint of fear? The food god's face suddenly became gloomy. The other party knew his relationship with his wife and the sea god, and still dared to do this. It must be relied on. The next moment, his face suddenly turned into a flattering smile. Ah, it's the big man of the god of gluttony. If you want to eat good things, you should have said it earlier. Being your personal chef is a great honor for me. Let's go. My wife and I will never resist. You see, I'll cook for you, and let my wife pour you wine, okay? For his shamelessness, the 9-colored goddess seemed to have become accustomed to it, and her face did not change at all, only coldly staring at the god of gluttony. The god of gluttony was stunned, and then laughed loudly. Good. Those who know the current affairs are brilliant. As he spoke, he swung his sleeves and a sudden, powerful suction came through. The huge sleeves were like the jaws of a giant beast, swallowing the food god and the 9-colored goddess. Having taken in the food god and the 9-colored goddess, the god of gluttony picked up the plate of fried rice in front of him and directly poured it into his mouth, chewing it vigorously. It's delicious. It's been a long time since I've had something so delicious. This trip is definitely worth it. Ha 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 ha. The dark yellow light suddenly converged and then transformed into a dark yellow light ball that shot off into the distance and disappeared in an instant. The valley returned to its original state. The cottage remained. The flowers bloomed, but the owner was gone. This is a lake of dim light and red color, to be exact. A lake formed by the convergence of magma. The terrorizing high temperature distorts everything around it into an illusion. On the lake surface, a man, a chubby one, lies quietly. Despite his nudity, his small eyes contain a hint of memories. It seems he has been lying here for a long, long time. It seems like centuries have passed, but he remains unchanged. If one looks closely, they will notice a faint golden red light between his eyebrows. The elemental energy around him has also been transformed into fire attribute due to the magma, and his body consumes it. Suddenly, a faint dark red color gradually spreads in the air above the magma lake. At first, it was not noticeable because the sky here is already tinged with red from the reflection of the magma lake. However, soon, when this dark red has expanded to cover the entire magma lake, the entire sky becomes gloomy. A special atmosphere begins to pervade the area, with a hint of sweet fragrance, but more of a gentle atmosphere. On the magma lake, streams of magma suddenly erupted and turned into graceful young women. They floated towards the center of the lake to the man, accompanied by soft whispers and melodious music. The man suddenly sat up and was able to sit calmly in the magma. When he stood up, his tall figure was displayed as a strange golden red color, and a halo flickered behind him, with 5 circles of light converging into a fiery red light wheel, illuminating the originally dark red sky into a golden red color. The young women suddenly accelerated and flew to his side, tangled around him. The man's eyes flashed with red light, and the golden red light behind him suddenly burst forth. A loud phoenix cry rang out, and a golden red phoenix suddenly drilled out of the magma lake, causing all the magma women to disperse in front of it, and even the music and breath to fade away. Wow. To be able to wake up directly in my color dance sky devil. Not bad. Little fatty. A slender figure walked out from the distance, with a soft laugh. Chapter 9. The God of Lust. It was a woman wearing a long skirt. The white skirt and the fiery red world formed a stark contrast. She had an exquisite face, a perfect figure, and most importantly, the white skirt seemed to be translucent. The wonderful figure was faintly visible, as if there was endless temptation to come out from within. The God of Lust. The chubby man's eyes narrowed, but in an instant they became clear, and a strong aura burst forth from him. The golden red fire phoenix on top of his head was even more dazzling at this moment. The God of Lust sighed, her face looking so pure and holy, as if there was no lust at all, yet she had a huge charm. It seems that our intelligence was incorrect. If I remember correctly, you seemed to be interested in women when you were in the Douluo continent. How could it be that after just a few decades, you have changed your mind? The former evil fire phoenix has become the current phoenix god. Could it be that there is really no evil fire left? That's really too bad. The soft voice echoed in the air. Every word is like silk, like a faint fragrance, flowing towards the phoenix god's body. At that moment, the phoenix god felt his heart sway, and every time she spoke a word, his mind would tremble. The more he heard, the more it seemed like fire was really about to soar within him. But it was also at this time that a white figure appeared in his heart. It was a woman, with a pretty face, with a hint of shyness, but more, was a deep reluctance. The appearance of this figure immediately made the god of the phoenix tremble, and then his eyes suddenly shone with golden red light. Roar. A loud shout. The phoenix god spread his arms on both sides of his body. The golden red phoenix light above his head became blazing. Then he himself turned into a golden light and merged into the fire phoenix. The entire magma lake boiled completely in an instant. All the magma rose at the same time and merged into the body of the fire phoenix, and the terrifying flames also completely erupted at this moment. The dark red in the sky was suddenly dispersed by the terrifying high temperature. The powerful divine power wave penetrated the sky. Hey, you're really surprising. Such a powerful force. This information is really wrong and unreasonable. The evil phoenix. There is not a trace of evil fire. In fact, I am really curious. What happened to you? Behind the god of lust, a circle of light rings quietly emerged, turning into 7 light rings, and the light shines. In the dark red light ring, layer after layer of halo spread out, like a huge cage, suppressing all the flames of the phoenix god within it. What do you want to do? The deep voice of the Phoenix God sounded. I don't want to do anything. Sister just wants to invite you to visit. Phoenix God, since you have such a firm mind, then why not let Sister judge you with original sin? You have to be careful. While speaking, the god of lust turned completely dark red, stepped out, and the dark red figure appeared behind the Phoenix God in the next moment, with arms crossed from behind, holding his body. This lust god is a powerful first-level deity, and in the entire divine world, there are only 18 first-level deities. He is a powerful existence only second to the 2 gods of the divine council and 3 law enforcement officers. The cultivation of the Phoenix God is already top-notch in the second-level deities, but when encountering a first-level deity, there is still an insurmountable gap. A dark red light flashed, and the figure had already melted into his body and disappeared. The body of the Phoenix God shook slightly in the air, and then his eyes changed from golden red to dark red. The giant fire phoenix also began to shake violently in the air. A little dark red light began to spread from his feathers to his body and eyes, and his body also began to shake violently. Soon, the dark red light had almost spread to more than 1/3 of his body, and the giant fire phoenix began to dance wildly in the air above the lava lake, releasing terrifying phoenix flames in an attempt to escape from this powerful lust god invasion. However, the lust god was like a tick, allowing him to escape in any way. No matter how hot his phoenix flame was, he could not shake off the attached lust god. The dark red color continued to spread, rising up, and soon, half of his body was dark red. The fire phoenix also gradually quieted down, landing on the surface of the lava lake. It seems that he has started to decline and may fall into the abyss of desire at any time. In his pair of phoenix eyes, various images are constantly flashing, which are related to his innermost and most primitive desires. The most powerful place of the god of lust is to induce this original sin of lust. Once the judge himself cannot control it, then he will become her slave, and his cultivation will also be greatly damaged. In the many god scriptures in the divine world, the god of lust is the leader of the original sin scripture and has extremely powerful strength. Even existence at the level of the god king dare not easily let her invade their divine soul. The phoenix god was not supposed to be invaded so easily. It was only because he had never fought with the original sin god that he suffered a big loss from the beginning. The dark red light has gradually spread to the chest position of the phoenix god. Just continue to go up and occupy his head. Then, this phoenix god will only be controlled by his own lust and fall into the control of the god of lust. But just at this moment, suddenly, the phoenix god's body stiffened for a moment, and time seemed to stop for a moment. The phoenix god spit out a few clear words from his mouth. Wife, I miss you so much. Note from author, by Chen Chang, due to her talent, was unable to become a god. So, chapter 10, the god of wrath. In the next moment, a dazzling golden red light suddenly shone from his forehead, and the giant phoenix raised its head. A loud phoenix cry suddenly sounded, and the golden red light spread rapidly from its head to its body. The dark red color that was about to invade his body suddenly faded away quickly, like melting ice and snow, as if encountering something terrifying. The dark red light suddenly disengaged and turned back into the shape of the color desire god, floating to a distant place. Her face was pale and she looked at the phoenix god in surprise. Although it can't be said that the strength of the phoenix deity is stronger than hers, she knows that in the recent competition, she has already lost, and lost badly. In her area of expertise, she lost to the firm spirit of the phoenix deity. Do you have a true love in your heart? Asked the lust deity in surprise. The phoenix deity said calmly, it seems that you only know about the things before I came to the realm of the gods. As for the rest, you don't know. After I came to the realm of the gods, I have been here and never left. Even this lava lake has not left. Do you know why? The lust deity shook her head. She no longer seemed eager to surrender to the phoenix deity, but was very interested in looking at him. A deep pain that penetrates the bones flickered in the eyes of the phoenix deity. Because, I hate myself. I hate my lack of effort before. If my strength was strong enough, I should have inherited the divine position of the fire god. However, I am not good enough. I failed to inherit the divine position of the fire god. I had to settle for second best and inherited the divine position of the phoenix deity. Among all the divine beasts, except for the dragon deity who no longer exists, all other divine beasts can only be second level gods. I am no exception. I am a second level god that cannot bring their loved ones to the realm of the gods without enough cultivation. My wife will forever stay in the mainland of Douluo, and only I came here. But what's the point of me being here alone? So, I hate myself for not trying hard. I hate my inability to bring my wife to the realm of the gods and be separated from her forever. For these decades, besides hatred, there has only been longing for her in my heart. The once lust has long since disappeared, and what remains is only that longing and love for her. Even if you are the god of lust, what makes you capable of shaking my heart? If I had a choice, if I had known that I couldn't inherit the position of the fire god and bring my wife into the divine world, then I would rather not be a god. I would rather grow old and return to the earth with her. 2 drops of fiery red tears flowed down the eyes of the phoenix god, and he cried out to the sky. The next moment, he had transformed into a huge phoenix of fire and rushed towards the god of lust. The god of lust listened quietly to his story, and at the end, her body trembled slightly, and her gaze at the phoenix god was already completely different. Watching the phoenix god rushing towards her, she sighed, and then danced gracefully on the lava lake. A number of dark red ribbons drifted in the air, engulfing the phoenix god, and at that moment, she, as a first level god, was fighting with the second level god, the phoenix god. Just then, a deep orange appeared in the red sky, and then a cold voice sounded. I never thought that the god of lust would even fail at such a small task. Since that's the case, let me help you. A dark orange light suddenly fell, turning into a tall and skinny man in an orange cloak. As soon as he appeared, the entire lava lake boiled over and turned into a very miserable and angry face, opening its mouth and biting the phoenix god. The dark red aura of the lust god swept away, entangled the body of the phoenix god tightly, like a dumpling. Who asked you to help? The light in the eyes of the lust god flickered, and the breath was even somewhat unstable, as if it was about to explode at any moment. In the air, the dark red breath also suddenly surged, and the dark red light behind her back became very strong, suppressing the light of the 7 dark orange light circles behind the man across from her. If you can't beat him, why shouldn't I help you? How now it looks like you and I have switched roles. Are you now the god of wrath? The dark orange figure seemed a little scared and said. The breath of the lust god stabilized a little, but the eyes were still cold, snorted, rose, pulled the colorful belt, and took the phoenix god away with him, flying towards the distance. The god of wrath growled and transformed into a dark orange light, quickly chasing after him. The boiling lava lake regained its calm, but now it was without its master. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.